Good face. You're on camera.
Okay,
So,
we're live.
Today is Friday, November the 14th, 2014. This is the start of an interview with Mr. Leon Steenbergh at the Clinton-Macomb Public Library, Clinton Township, Michigan, in partnership with RSVP of Macomb. Mr. Steenbergh is 88 years old. He was born February the 6th, 1926. Mr. Steenbergh currently resides in East Jordan, Michigan. My name is Dave Brousseau, and I will be the interviewer, and Gary Miglia will be the videographer. Mr. Steenbergh, for the record, would you state the branch of service you were in?
Army Signal Battalion. Is that right?
Leon, were you born here in Detroit?
No, I was born in Baseline, Michigan, which at that time, or now it's called Warren, Michigan.
Oh,
That was at 8 Mile Road.
8 Mile in Van Dyke?
8 Mile and Hoover Road.
Okay, okay. From the tough part of town.
It was.
Did you venture into Coleman Young territory, or did you stay on the other side?
I will not cross 8 Mile Road.
Okay, well, enough said.
Unless a free ride to the baseball stadium.
Where'd you go to school?
Are you ready for this? I went to 17 different schools in
Oh,
8
goodness.
years.
Wow.
My mother was a mover.
Were you a scallywag, or was it just coincidence that you needed to move?
Well, I'm one of 17 kids.
Oh my goodness.
I'm the only one living now. My dad
Wow.
worked for the city of Detroit during the Big Depression. We had,
What'd you do?
my dad?
Mm-hmm.
He ran a streetcar.
Oh my goodness. I remember those.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, as a kid, we really had a rough life. We moved all over to Michigan. And I asked my older brothers and sisters, which there was 6 of them older than me, why do you think that Ma moved so much? Nobody could figure out why. But I think I came on it about 6 months ago or so. She never had the money to pay the rent where we lived.
Oh my goodness.
You can move in, stay as long until the
You're good.
landowner wants his money, then you move again. So that's why I wound up going to 17 different schools. There was a couple that I went back for the second time to. So when I got in the 8th grade, I could legally quit school. I left. We had a farm way up in Charlevoix, Michigan, Charlevoix County. And I didn't like the treatment I got, so when I was 15 and a half, I left home. Came down here. And made my own way for a long time.
So you'd have been 12, 13, 14?
15 and a half.
15.
Yeah. I think it was was in July that I,
When you speak of treatment, is that from the family, you mean?
from my dad.
Oh, okay.
He was a hard worker all of his life, and he figured
Everybody else?
he had 9 boys, and he wanted each one of us to be a farmer, and not one of us stayed around long enough to be a farmer. So anyway, yeah.
So when you left, what did you do for work?
Well, I started working in Courier Lumber on 6 Mile and Band-Aid, and different lumber yards, steel mills.
Were there ones, jobs that you had to get the skill to do it, or did you have some skill for those?
The only skill I had was try to work hard,
Mhm.
try to do my best. I worked for, I think it was 3 or 4 different lumber yards around Detroit, and 1 steel mill. But hung around with people, some of us, they thought some of us was undesirable, but we never done nothing but fight. Maybe you can remember, zoot suiters.
Zoot shooters?
Suitors, yeah.
They were from Harper and Bandai. We had a gang that was called 8 Mile Bandai Gang.
I'm further north. I'm up in Mount Clemens.
Oh,
We
yeah.
were a bit sheltered up there. We had,
Had a lot of mineral baths,
yeah,
stinking place.
that's where the Bath City came from.
Yeah,
But we were, at that time, the largest rose grower in the country, too.
was that right? I don't remember that.
Yeah.
There was a lot
And
of
Prohibition was pretty big. I didn't know that until
One
I
guy
was,
named Sonny something was a gangster.
yeah. After I got out of high school and gosh, it was years after high school, I found out we had all kinds of brothels and blind pigs and going on, and I didn't even know anything about it.
There was one over on Jefferson. Yeah, somewhere over on Jefferson.
Amazing the kind of things you're
When I was
exposed.
16, we went in there, 3 of us guys, and had a few beers. They sold us beer while we was that young.
Now, wait a minute, you went into a brothel to get a beer?
Yeah, well, cat house.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, you could get a drink. You could,
But
yeah, it was something.
I was never exposed to stuff extravagant like that.
Is that right? You're lucky.
Well, you must have been working for several years then before Uncle Sam came around.
Yeah. I tried to get in every branch of the service. One reason or another, they wouldn't accept me. The Navy, I was accepted by the Navy. And I had 3 weeks at home. And in that 3 weeks, I had to have an emergency appendix operation. And I got as far as Chicago Roosevelt Hotel on the date that I was supposed to report. And they had us short arm inspection. You know what that means. So I'm going through the line and I get to this lieutenant and he looked at I had a scar, just a scar that wide down here. He says, how long have you had that? I said, oh, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 months. Oh. And he was ready to let me go. And a chief come by with hash marks all the way up to his ears. And so the lieutenant asked him, he says, hey, what do you think about this scar on the side? how old do you think it is? He says, about 3 weeks. They wrote big red on my paperwork, rejected. So then, that's after that. But I tried merchant marines, I tried the Marines, Navy. There was 9 of us that went to the Navy, and maybe that was a good thing that I had that operation, because 7 of them got killed on the same ship. But anyway, I wanted to be there. It was just fate that kept me out of the battle part. I wanted to be in the battle to see how I would react to the conditions, you know, that you'd be in.
Well, if everybody was rejecting you, how did you get drafted?
Hey, they were taking women and men, or women and children then. No, I don't know. I never could figure that out.
Of course, the Army has a history of taking anybody that breathes.
That's right. And my basic training proved that, because what they had as non-coms was, they should have been rejected before, you know.
Where'd you go to Booth?
Camp Hood, Texas.
Camp
Fort Hood, Texas now.
Fort Hood.
It was Camp
Okay.
Hood. And
That's
one hellhole of a place.
yeah. That's like Leavenworth, Missouri.
Yeah.
So what did you think about that
Think about what?
at Boot? What was that like?
I see German prisoners of war getting better service than we were. Better things, better food.
You joined up in '44, so it was
They had a whole mess of German soldiers.
really.
Yeah. German and Italian prisoners of war. They weren't clothes that looked better than what we did. We had faded out blue jeans like. I was happy in a way that I was in the service. The only thing is, when things got real bad, I had a lieutenant riding my back most of the time. And I swore, I said, if I meet him overseas, I'm going to shoot that son of a bitch right now. Got over down by Manila. The only building standing in Manila then was post office. And they had some kind of a gathering place there. And I and my buddies, we went there. Who did I run into? That lieutenant. Open arms. Forgot all about basic. Yeah. It was,
How long were you in Boot at Fort Hood?
I think it was about 6 or 8 weeks.
Oh, they were pushing them through, eh?
Oh, yeah. A bunch of us volunteered to go for the Bulge, Battle of the Bulge, but they wouldn't take us.
What else do you remember about Boot that was interesting?
Digging a foxhole.
Digging foxholes.
Yeah, when you go out on
That's where you
bivouac.
learned that.
Huh?
So that's where you learned that.
Well, we'd go out on bivouac, you'd have to dig a foxhole. Got that much dirt, then all the rest of it was slate, stone. So I volunteered for what the heck they called it then? For work with the kitchen and that.
KP?
Then I knew I could get
Chef?
enough work. Huh?
Chef,
No, not a chef.
KP duty?
KP.
slicing potatoes.
Yeah, doing all the dirty work. But anyway, so I had to dig a foxhole. I dug down, got all the dirt from top of the stone, the rock. I got brush and piled around it. They never caught me. The guys that they caught that didn't dig their foxhole, they got extra duty. I outfoxed them that time. Yeah.
A lot of marching.
Yeah, correct. I wanted to join the paratroopers, and I wrote and told my mom what I wanted to do, and she said, please don't. She said, God made you to walk on earth, not to fall out of the sky.
Oh, it's extra pay.
Yeah, but I didn't do it. Afterwards, I was glad because whatever they did, they were on the dead run. They had double time everything.
What was your first assignment after boot?
Well,
Where'd they send you?
to the Marshall Islands.
You went direct to the Marshalls, eh?
Yeah, well, I got 7 days at home. And then,
What'd you do with that 7 days?
well, yeah, after 7 days was up, we boarded a train in Detroit. We went to Joliet, Illinois, picked up some of the guys that lived in Illinois, troop train, and then we headed for California. First of all, it was Camp Function, Kansas. You walk down the street there and the dust was about that thick. It was so dry
And flat as far as you can see.
Right. From there, then we went to California, Monterey, California. What the heck is the name of the camp up there?
Well, that's a nice place.
Yeah, I was there 3 weeks and never seen the sun. Foggy. But then from there we went to Riverside, California, and that was our POE.
Okay.
And that's when we stopped at Hawaii in a convoy and Marshall Islands and to the Philippine Islands.
Had to stop in Hawaii, huh?
Oh yeah.
Where in Hawaii? Pearl?
We were about, I'd say 250 yards from the memorial now.
Oh my.
Yeah.
That didn't come about until 60
Yeah, something like
something.
But, you know, the top part of the ship was still there.
Yeah.
Turned over.
I mean, all the junk was still there. but
Yeah,
They just
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
do anything with it. Now, wait a minute. Riverside, California to Hawaii to
To the Marshalls.
Marshalls.
Yeah, we stopped there.
I assume at that point Marshalls were ours.
Yeah. The
How
thing I
long were
can
you there?
remember about it, they had a Japanese troop ship was up on the beach with a hole in it, about the size of this room where the torpedoes had hit it, you know.
Then from the Marshalls to the Philippines.
Yeah, to Leyte.
Leyte.
Yeah, the village was there was. God, I don't know.
Let's go back. You said you spent 7 weeks at home. 7 days.
Yeah,
What was that like? You must have been gone for several months.
yeah.
So you took to the brothels
Yeah.
where the drinks
No, I
were?
didn't go to them. I knew a little better, a little more about them.
Just the little bars.
Yeah.
Would you still have friends from there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My one brother, he was in the Merchant Marines,
Oh my goodness.
and he was home too. And I asked my mom where he was at. She says, I don't know, I haven't seen him for a couple of days. And I found out he was in the Motor City Bar on Sherwood and 9 Mile Road, I think. Yeah. So I went there and
Sherwood,
I met
that's
up.
just off 8 Mile, isn't it?
What?
Yeah.
Sherwood runs north and south.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I know where that is.
yeah. Oh, it was 8 Mile.
Yeah, it runs into 8 Mile, Sherwood.
Yeah.
I'll be damned. I haven't heard that name in years.
Yeah.
It's just over the railroad tracks
Right,
off of Van
right,
Dyke.
yeah, yeah.
Huh.
But anyway, my brother was there, and him and I teamed up for the 7 days.
What'd your mom think about you and your brother going in the service? And
She left it up to us,
you
what
know,
we decided. You know. She had others that she
fill in the gaps?
she had nothing.
That must have been tough on her.
Well, she had 17 kids, her and my dad, and she
Wow.
said before she died, could do it over again, she'd had twice as many. She raised 4 other kids besides that.
Wow.
She loved her kids.
So drinking was a way to get rid of the pain.
You thought, you think you could get rid of your troubles, but
Yeah.
it causes more.
Yeah. It goes away for a while, but it comes back.
Yeah. Yeah, the troop trade going to the West Coast. I met a wax sergeant, and I had a bottle of booze with me. And her and I was sharing it. MPs happened to be walking through there and seeing it, and they took the bottle away.
What for? What the hell's wrong with a bottle?
Well, maybe what was going on at the time.
Oh. Sorry, I missed that.
No. Yeah, that was my first experience when I was drafted at Fort Sheridan. I was told to take 5 guys and report to this one building to Sergeant Kelly,
Where is this now?
Fort Sheridan, Illinois.
Okay.
Anyway, we went there. One of the prettiest whacks I ever seen in my life. Man, oh man, us guys down on their hands and knees scrubbing the floor looking at her. Why are we here? Why we were in the field someplace. She was a pretty woman. I don't think she said 3 words to any of us.
How did the women get treated at that time? Were they treated as equals in the service, or
Well,
the
that'd be
jobs
hard
were
for
probably
me.
more administrative, so
Yeah, like when I went overseas, there was one of the ships had 500 nurses on it, all women, you know. But as far as they was treated, I think they were probably treated fair. I can't really say. When I got over,
Wax were Army.
Huh?
Wax were Army, right?
yeah. When we got overseas, over to Leyte, they built I think it was either 18th Field Hospital, General Hospital, or the 318th. Because I wound up in there when my foot got broke. And when we first got there, they were building that hospital up. And we were most of us was put on guard duty. Because the Japs were still coming down, getting in our chow line. We always ate chow about before daylight, say around 4 or 5 o'clock.
Really?
Yeah. And some would sneak in there and try to act like a Filipino worker, you know.
Oh.
And But once the hospital was secured, then they moved us out to the combat engineers. And that's
So what is this now, 1945 by now?
something, yeah,
So we're close to the end of the war.
yeah. In fact, we were at the end of the war, I think. I know I spent the Christmas there.
Now, you're not too far, when you were in the Marshalls, you're not too far from Tinian.
From where?
Tinian? You never heard of that?
No.
That's where the B-29s took off to hit,
Oh, yeah, yeah, to go to Japan.
and they must have been trying to take over they must have had a landing on Tinian right around the time you were in the Marshalls.
Yeah.
Because you come to the Marshalls first and then Tinian, and
I think the reason that we stopped at the Marshalls was one of the ships was having some kind of mechanical problem, or maybe fuel or something. I can't.
what were you in, a troop ship?
Yeah,
What was that like?
like hell.
You don't have sea
Took
legs,
us
huh?
31 days after we left California to get to. Probably took 25 days to get to the Marshalls. Because we're in a convoy, you know, back.
What do we call that? Zigzagging.
Yeah. We was supposed to, someone said that they spotted a Japanese two-man submarine. But nothing happened. They had destroyers running up and down.
This is close to the time that the Indianapolis was sunk too.
Yeah.
And that was in the Philippines, Leyte.
I don't know. I don't remember where that happened.
Lots of action going on. All right, so you get to Leyte Gulf, the Philippines, then what happens to you then?
I'm trying to think of the name of this village. Batangas Bay. That was where we landed.
Say it again?
Batangas Bay.
That's a new name.
Yeah. It was a village, well, I guess it's a pretty good sized town. I recently went down in Florida. I had problems with my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the nurses that was attending me, I said to her, I said, "Are you Filipino?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "I spent some time there in the Philippines." "Oh, yeah? Where were you at?" I said, "The town of Batangas Bay." "Oh, my God, that's my mother and dad's birthplace."
Oh, my goodness.
That
And
was-
you were where then?
I was, well, this was down in Florida, in a hospital.
Oh,
I had a problem with the heart.
Huh.
But it was really odd that I would come up with a girl that her
Yeah.
parents were born there, you know.
so you didn't take to the water in those troop ships?
No.
Well,
If you wanted to take a shower, you had to get up about 2 o'clock in the morning. They had so many gallons of fresh water
yeah.
shower, or that they made out of salt water or something like that. So consequently, I only took one shower in 31 days.
Most of those tankers had round bottoms and they would just roll and roll.
Hell, they were. This was a converted oil tanker to a troop ship, and it was supposed to carry only 750 troops. We had 1,500 on it. You took turns sleeping down below if you wanted. I didn't want to below. I stayed up on top. I stayed on. I had
You'll
my
have to excuse me.
pardon my English,
I'm
but
getting
I had my
seasick.
fart sack underneath #1 gun tub on the
Mhm.
bow. That's where I slept. Oh, by the way, between Hawaii and California, 6 days I was seasick. I mean, seasick.
When you were in Hawaii, in Pearl, how long were you there?
We were there about 3 days, 4 days. We had something wrong with the engine on that.
So you really didn't have much time to,
I was really tore up about it. The first day we were there, we can see, what the heck's the name of the field there?
Henderson?
Yeah, we could see everything, you know. Next day, a Navy ship tied up on our port side. Well, now we can't see this way. That night, another ship tied up to us on the other side. All you could see was forward. And then I started talking about Roosevelt, when I thought of him and his maneuver, us there in the Philippines. I told my buddies, I said, someday I'm coming back here. Spend some time in Hawaii, and I did. 1974, I went back there. Beautiful.
how long did you stay?
10 days.
Did you get to see everything?
Yo.
Did you come back to Pearl?
Yeah, I went back.
There's not an awful lot to see there other than,
But anyway,
so your short stay, you were pretty much stationed aboard ship, you didn't get out much at Pearl?
Pearl, we didn't get out at all. We stayed on that ship for, I think, 3 days it was, something like that.
I gotta believe that's the worst thing you ever wanted to have happen, is get stuck on that.
Oh, yeah.
So then you went to the Marshalls. How long did you stay in the Marshalls?
A day or two, I can't really remember, but I know it wasn't really very long.
What was it like to be there? I mean, was there anything interesting to see?
We thought, us guys together thought, what did they fight for this for? All you see is sand. You don't see no buildings or nothing, you know. We pulled into a harbor like,
Must have been a runway.
I don't know.
Most of those islands were key runway
Yeah.
prospects.
But anyway, most of the guys are jumping overboard, you know, taking a swim in the ocean there. And the captain of the ship said, now hear this is shark-infested water. You should have seen the guys coming back. I wouldn't go in the water at all. I can't swim too good.
I don't like swimming in salt water. It makes you sticky when you get out.
Yeah.
Gotta take a shower after.
Well, you take a shower, we took a shower in salt water, and yeah, I'm gonna do that no more.
No.
But then,
How long did it take you to get from the Marshalls to Philippines?
I can't really remember. It seemed
That's
like,
quite a jaunt.
yeah, it seemed like it was part of a week or so.
Mm-hmm. You still had your big flotilla with you, the big group?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mostly troop transports?
Yeah.
What'd you have for protection, destroyers?
yeah, the destroyers, that was about it. What I can remember. I didn't remember seeing any.
Well, let
I
me tell
think
you.
we had one battleship.
Let me tell you, the primary purpose of a destroyer is to get in the way of torpedoes so they
Yeah.
can't hit you.
Yeah.
So if you think you had it bad on a troop ship, think what those forceps.
Yeah.
When somebody told me that, we were 700 miles off the coast of Georgia, and there was a Wolfpack noted in there somewhere. And they said the average lifespan of a destroyer was about 20 minutes in wartime.
Yeah.
I needed that, like I wasn't already scared to death.
Yeah. My oldest boy, during the Vietnam, he was on a destroyer. But he wasn't over, you know, he was over. He had it really rough. His home base was Barcelona, Spain.
Oh my goodness.
He called me up one morning. I gotta tell you this, it was funny. Phone rang around 5 o'clock in the morning. My wife got up, answered it. She said, it's Danny and he wants to talk to you. So I got out of bed and I said, hello? He says, hi Dad, how you doing? I'm fine. I said, why are you calling? He said, would you find out why Janet was his fiancée? You want to get married to me anymore? I said, what? You calling me at 28 cents a minute to find out why your girlfriend don't want to be with you anymore? Don't you ever call me again. I don't know. I forget what the bill was, but it was high, and I told you to pull that on me again.
You should have had more sympathy for him.
Yeah, I had a Dear John letter too, so when I got it one.
Did this one go through, or did
No.
he marry her?
No. Well, yeah, he did.
Yeah?
Yeah. He had 3 kids. They're divorced anyway. So. I probably was the happiest part, in a way, of my time in the service was when we left Manila on an LST and went to Yokohama, the city of Yokohama, Japan. I volunteered again for galley duty. There was 5 of us guys that, buddy. But it seemed like after breakfast or after lunch or dinner, I'd get seasick. I'd go lay down while the other guys cleaned up everything. I did. We had a cooler, 2 coolers on the Army coolers on the ship, on the LST, with the rest of our equipment. They were full of beer, and we'd get to draw 6 beers a night. I'd get my 6 beers and go lay there drinking while the boys were down in the kitchen cleaning up. They never got wise to me.
How much was your phone call a minute?
28 cents a minute.
I just talked to somebody in Prague 2 weeks ago,
Wow.
and he told me it was costing him 28 cents a minute.
Is that right?
That's hard to believe.
Yeah.
Something's wrong with that. We didn't talk very long, but he needed to call me, and
Yeah.
28 minutes, oh, that ain't so bad. I mean,
Yeah,
you're
if you
talking
talk for 10 minutes or so, back
60,
then.
70, you're talking 75 years later. Maybe he didn't know.
But anyway, the duty we had in Japan was,
Let's go back to the Philippines. What did you do in the Philippines?
well, like when I was in the combat engineers, we built bridges, Bailey bridges,
How did you get out of the infantry?
something goofy.
I guess you were in the infantry, but designated as a construction engineer, for a better word.
Well, whatever outfit was lacking people.
Yeah. So how did you learn how to build anything? OJT?
Huh?
OJT?
Yeah. Whatever that is.
On-the-job training.
Yeah, that's what it was. Well, when that happened, when I broke my foot, I didn't do much of anything, but I'd take care of a diesel generator. Make sure they have fuel and everything like that.
How'd you learn how to handle a diesel generator?
Just sergeant says, hey, you're in charge over there, you take care of that. That was the trade. The same thing with the bridge,
Was there a threat from the Japanese coming into camp? like you were saying, coming
Yeah,
in for,
when we first got there, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I spent about, I think a little over a year, maybe not a year, in the Philippines.
what was that like? Warm?
Huh?
Warm? Hot?
Oh, okay. In my GI undershorts, that's most of what we wore all the time, day and night.
What time of year was this?
Uh,
It's probably that way most of the year, isn't it?
yeah. The monsoon is in, I think, around January or February. And we were there at the time.
How long does that last?
Oh, I don't know. Probably a couple months. I know we got to go see a movie out in the field with Bob Hope and Bing Crosby, Christmas Eve.
Really?
On the road to Utopia or something like that. All about snow and that. So like, fifth of four roses here and lots of screen, rain and monsoon rain.
So you're out in the field?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sitting on the side hill, raining hard. I know the next day I had to go back to the hospital and get my cast they had on my foot. They had to reinforce it again because I laid out in the rain all night.
Did you ever have some of the Hollywood starlets come out?
Oh, yeah. Well, USO, they were great.
Yeah.
I got to see Jimmy Durante. There was several stars that we had, but we had USO. That's why these officers had us build a swimming pool, because the USO people coming over there, they don't want to go into the ocean. They
Yeah.
got fresh water.
Yeah.
Yeah. But us
You know, I never knew much
dog
about
faces, we didn't have the privilege of swimming in the pool.
I never knew much about the USO at home, but when you're out to sea or you're stopping somewhere, it really is nice. They're nice people. They try to make you comfortable,
Oh, yeah.
friendly.
Yeah.
That was really nice.
I had, before we went overseas, when we were at Camp Riverside, USO come in there. Or no, we went to Hollywood and danced. Well, this woman tried to get me to dance, but I had 3 left feet, you know. But anyway, I danced at the Hollywood Canteen, which was pretty famous, you know, for entertaining people, soldiers and sailors and that. It was really, really a nice place. There's things that I forget, then all of a sudden, sometimes I'll remember different things that went on.
Yeah.
But when we got to Japan, we
Now,
took
what was it that triggered you going to Japan? The end of the war?
into the war.
What did you think when you heard about the bombing?
We were happy.
Did you hear about it right away, or?
Well, I think it was in August or something like that.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Well, I would say the group that I was with, we were all 18, 19-year-old kids. We wanted combat. And we were sorry in a way that
We weren't
wouldn't
going to
get
have a
involved.
shot at it.
Yeah.
What did it do to the local area when it was announced the war was up?
Oh, God, people went crazy.
But I mean, you still have Japanese on the Philippines,
Right?
and there must, I mean,
There was so many small islands that
Yeah.
the Japs had troops on that was bypassed by the MacArthur's main force.
Right. Plus, they didn't know anything about it.
Yeah,
I mean, there have been instances where years they found Japanese
yeah,
on these islands and thought the war was still going on.
yeah. When I was in the combat engineers, the Japanese prisoners of war took over our outfit. They were going to use them to put up any more of the Bailey bridges, what they call them. So then they took us from the combat engineers, what I really enjoyed, I mean, that was a good outfit, and put us in sent us down by Manila to put into the signal battalion. And from there, that's when I don't know how long we were in there, but it was quite a while. Then we went to Japan, Tokyo.
That's a long haul. I would think they'd have plenty of troops closer to Japan to. When you're in Japan, it always strikes me as here's a country you're at war with, you're shooting at, and all of a sudden you're in there trying to handle the conversion. What's that like?
Well, at first we were pretty bitter. But then as more time we stayed there, every morning you get up, like I said, we took over an 8-story building called the New Kaijo building. It was 8 stories high. The basement part of it was set up for if you want picture taken or cleaners or something like that, you had that. Then the first floor up to the 7th floor was where the troops slept, where we roomed out. I was being a T4. There was 4 of us in a room. We finally had hospital beds. We had sheets to lay on, mattresses.
Wow.
If I wanted to mail a letter, I'd walk outside our room. There's a chute there. You'd write your letter. You put it in it. It dropped down to the bottom. And they send it off like that. We could have haircuts there. Our breakfasts were more or less like a big restaurant. Order what you want.
Wow.
Lunch, we had music. At dinner time, they had bands in there playing music while we ate. Japanese waiting on us.
Yeah, what Japanese were all the waitresses and cooks?
Yeah.
Didn't that bother you to be
Well,
eating some
at
food
first
that
it was
Japanese
strange.
were making?
First it was strange, but hey, it was luxury.
Yeah.
We got used to it in a hurry.
Could you walk down the street?
Oh, yeah. Us being attached to the Pacific Air Command, the MPs were the 8th Army MPs. You couldn't fraternize with any of the Japanese women. Like one buddy of ours, he got to know this one Japanese woman, and he it was raining, and he went to help her over the curb, and the MPs was there, arrested him right away.
Ooh.
Yeah. We'd never seen him again. They probably put him in the stockade for a while or something, but anyway,
It always strikes me as kind of a funny, you're shooting and killing each other, and all of a sudden the next day you're walking among them.
yeah.
Of course, the Japanese people were not who we were really at war with. It was the Japanese military that we were really at war with. They didn't know anything probably any more than we did.
Well, when I was in the combat engineers, I was running a crawler crane unloading supplies. They'd unload them from the ships and then bring it out to where our dump was. We called the dump, And I was unloading trucks and weapon carrier, piled them up on boxes. God, you know, we left so many vehicles there. It was a shame that they couldn't bring it back to the United States. That was one of the agreements. I don't know how many people knew about it, but our government, with the deal with, let's say, Chrysler Corporation, had a deal that anything they take overseas, they can't bring back to our country. And there was miles, 2.5 ton trucks and weapon carriers with 3/4 ton trucks. And that's what I was doing. Well, they gave us Japanese prisoners of war to work with us. I'm running the crane, and they're my hookup people. That was strange. One time, sounds like I was a drunk, but probably close to it. But I had this 2 or 3 chaps. I had them 2 or 3 times in a row, and one of them was named Jimmy. That's what we called him, Jimmy. He was a tailor on Ginza Street in Tokyo. He said one day the military comes and says, "You're in the army now. You're in the service." He says, "I didn't want to come over here. I didn't want to be in the service. I had my business." He talked really, pretty good English in that. We trusted him. In fact, like I was going to say, I was kind of hung over one day. So I was unloading 2.5 ton Dodge trucks. And I gave him my carbine. And I just said, "If anybody comes, you wake me up." And he did. They would not try to escape, because if the Filipinos caught them, they'd cut their heads off right away.
Wow.
Yeah. No, if what, off went the head.
So that's where you were stationed in this Japan, was in Tokyo?
Yeah.
Was there remnants of all the bombing that went on?
Well,
Because there was quite a bit of that before they dropped the atomic bomb.
oh yeah. It was 29 miles from Tokyo to Yokohama. When we pulled into Japan, or it was at Yokohama, they had a big steel mill up there. I got pictures of it. I don't know. We pulled in there. Driving from Yokohama to Tokyo, 28 or 29 miles, nothing. Maybe a stack, 1 stack or 2, a chimney stack. They just leveled it. They knew what they were doing. The building I was into, the one, I don't know, was on, I'll say the left side of us, was the same size building as what we were building in. It was gone. All was there was the basement part of it, and it was full of water. They took their globes off the telephone poles and put them down in the water in that basement of that missing building. We were about maybe 5 or 6 blocks from Tokyo Grand Central Station, and on the other side of us was about 1/4 mile from the Emperor's Palace grounds. But it was...
How long were you stationed there?
I don't know, it seemed like about 5 or 6 weeks, or months. I can't really remember.
You got there after the surrender that occurred in Tokyo Bay?
Oh, yeah.
I looked that up one time and I was astounded. There were over 500 or 600 ships that the U.S. bought into Tokyo Bay and surrounding area for that signing.
Yeah.
Ships you would have never associated with the signing. I mean, minesweepers, tankers, I mean, not the big warships that you would have thought they
Yeah.
brought in,
Yeah.
just to show power, you know? So did you manage to leave the local ladies alone while in Japan?
I can't remember.
Okay, okay.
That's like pleading the fifth.
Pretty much so.
What was there to do while you were there for entertainment?
Where, Japan?
Yes, Tokyo?
Go sightseeing. We had our duties. We had roll call at 8 o'clock in the morning. You could answer for me or go over there. It wasn't real regimental like it was in basic.
But there must have been a purpose for you being there.
Well, yeah,
You had
we,
some
we were
responsibility.
putting up poles and
Sort of rebuilding so you could communicate.
right. One project that I was in on, we were putting up 75-foot poles for sending communications over, like from Japan to the or USA, or I mean, to increase their ability to reach out more. We put up a lot of poles, 35-foot and 40-foot poles for electricity to different buildings and stuff like that. We were busy during the day. Well, we had to be out on the job at 9 o'clock in the morning, and we'd be done by 2. Head back to the building. Yeah. And that was pretty interesting. I liked what I was doing. In fact, when I got home, I was homesick for Tokyo.
Really?
Really. They made us feel very important.
Really?
Every morning you get up, like I said, we go out to the motor pool to get our vehicles to go to different parts of it. You'd have maybe 20, 30 Japs by the front door, all bowing and saying, Ohio, good morning. That's the only word I've learned, was Ohio.
Now, being there as long as you did, you didn't pick up any of the language.
Oh, some people did.
Yeah.
I was too dumb to do that. I had one good friend from Hoboken, New Jersey, I think it was. He picked up the Filipino language real quick. He could really, it was amazing how much he could do.
A lot of Filipino people there in Tokyo?
No,
No?
never seen any other race. Oh, there was some of us that were going to go for a recreation purpose, go to try to climb Mount Fujiyama, that volcano one you see. We had, I don't know, there must have been about 10 of us, 8 to 10 of us. And I had my own Jeep, and we got there and we tried to go up there by hooking a cable onto the front. We got up to about 4 stations, I guess. Couldn't go any further with our Jeeps. But anyway, on the way there, we came across the lake, and there was a man and woman who they said were white Russians. What they meant by white Russians. They were there, and some of the guys talked to them a little bit, But other than that, that was the only foreigners that. they maybe was even citizens of Japan then, but was up in the mountains. But I never seen any other race, other than Australian troops. There was a company of people like from India. There's soldiers, English soldiers, French. That's about, about the makeup of what we were. They started to get real chicken. They made us parade on Saturday mornings. None of us liked that. Finally,
Make work projects.
the first sergeant told me, he said, if you want your stripe, if you want to get paid for them stripes that you're entitled to wear, he said, you better get them sewed on your uniform. I never did. But I still got I think I got $10 or $12 more for being overseas or something. I think I was getting around $35 a month then.
So when you muster out, it's probably based on some kind of point system?
Yeah, well, we had to stay longer until we got enough. That happened down in the Philippines. They said they did not have enough bunks to take people home right away. That would have to be done by point system. Like the guys have been there for 2 or 3 years, well, in the service over there, well, they get first choice coming home. So a lot of us volunteered to make up cots, like to put in the bottom of ships, so that we'd have more, could have more troops coming back home. That petered out in no time at all because it was a big lie. They just didn't want to get rid of all of us at the time.
There was work to be done in Tokyo.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I've been very proud of what I served, where I served. If the government today would told me, you're in the service, I'd tell them to shoot me, because I would not represent the goddamn people we got running this country anymore. It is sickening. Why are we fighting over there in Afghanistan? Why did we lose all of my kids in the other one? I got my oldest grandson. He had 2 trips in Iraq. Now, then he went to Afghanistan. He wants to go back again. I told him, you crazy? You've done your part. What are we fighting for? I just get tore up about it. I had talked to my oldest boy. I got him into the service in the Navy. I told him, I said, you don't want to be in the Army, so you better sign up for the Navy. And he did. He served his 4 years. My younger brother than I, we were really close. I talked him into joining the service. He got killed in Korea. 3 weeks and he was dead in Korea. My youngest brother got killed in Korea. For what? It's nothing but political crap in my life. I don't know. We're losing kids, or people that have been warring for 2,000-3,000 years. They'll never change. Well, thank God. I hope my grandson I was talking about now, he was a ranger, and he had me the honor of pinning his organization stuff on his clothes down in Fort Campbell. But I told him, Mark, why are you doing this? He wants to be one of the highest honors he can get. He's big sergeant now, you know. I don't know. Why would anybody want it? I mean, he screwed himself up in Iraq, kicking the door in. He screwed up his left knee, and he had to stay in the hospital for quite a while and stuff like that. I believe I'd be willing to defend my country if it was necessary. If you brought your bunch in and was going to take over my country, I'd be one of the first ones to volunteer for that. But not for what's going on today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very bitter about that. Well, other than anything else,
When you finally were discharged and there were enough bunks, how long did it take you to get home?
Well, we came home through the northern route from Japan to Seattle, Washington, up by the Aleutian Islands and that. I would think it took us probably a week. Some of the roughest water you ever was in.
Yes. Did you get into the Bering Sea?
I don't know. I don't think so. I can't say for sure. All I know is that most of the time we spent down in the bottom of the ship, big Navy ship, because the weather was so rough. They had a chalkboard like you got back over here set up, and they had a piece of chalk with a string on it with the degrees.
Protractor.
Yeah, protractor. And you watch that thing way over there, way over there. And
It's a
you're
very
going like
simple
this.
little protractor up in the steering head
Show you what.
with a
your-
needle arrow hanging
Yeah.
down. So every time you take rolls, you can see,
How-
and everybody up there knows what the maximum roll you can take before you take water down the stack.
Yeah,
And that gets pretty scary.
especially up there. God, the waves are so high. We'd start out, if it was pretty calm, for the chow line, you'd start out below deck, and you'd go wind up over top deck, down another stairway to 2 decks below, or something like that, for chow, you know. And then as the ship rolled, everybody'd run to this side, and then everybody'd run to this side, and you're standing there saying, oh God, don't let me get seasick again.
If you can manage to stay away from being sick, I remember a technique they showed me. You had your tray, and the tray would slide. So you take 4 slices of white bread, particularly, and then press the tray down on the bread, and it sticks to the deck, to the table. And that's all I remember. That, wheat wouldn't do the same thing apparently, but these white slices would almost cement the tray there.
Right.
And the coffee cups or the drinking cups were the kind that had wide bottoms so that they don't tip over. They'll slide, but they don't tip over.
Yeah, right.
So you just take another piece of bread. and stick-
You're talking about that, was in between, I think it was in between Pearl Harbor and Wake Island. Sunday dinner. Standing in the chow line and going through the kitchen, or the galley. half of a chicken. Man, you got, cut a chicken in half. Each guy get a half a chicken. Ooh, I was happy. Because that's what we ate most of the time on the farm was chicken. But anyway, get up there, you see the guys try to eat it, take it, put it back on a tray and throw it in the garbage can. What the hell are they throwing that away for? Packed in 1938. Blue letters on the meat. It was so tough you couldn't eat it. Well, all the time we were on that ship, the 31 days, lunch was an apple, horse meat, horse penis and cheese. A sandwich, that's what you got. When we got to near the Philippine Islands, or near Manila, or Philippine Island, one of the guys I used to hang around with at 8 Mile in Van Dyke was a second cook on a Navy ship. We transferred from our tanker to this, and they run us up to Leyte. But he was a second cook, so we're going through the chow line to feed us right away. Now, like I said, we had nothing but garbage for 31 days to eat. We get on there, and this guy, his gang name was Cherry. I get up there with my tray, and they're serving chili, I think, and something else. I looked, I said, Cherry! And they called me Chief. Chief! What are you doing here? He said, get out of that line, come with me. And he took me and toured the bottom, inside the ship there. He said, I want to show you our meat locker. Go in there, half of the cows are hanging there. And us guys are eating this crap all the time. The Navy was... So he said, you like steak? I said, yeah. So he cooked me up a steak. I said, can you cook me 5 more? I want to take them to my buddies. They couldn't believe it when I brought up 5 steaks for them. But how the Navy, that's what I told my son. I said, you get in the Navy, you'll eat. You might get wet sometime, but you'll eat. Not like us guys did. Yeah.
So they dropped you off in Seattle?
Yeah, come into Seattle.
How'd you get home?
Train. Troop train. Run from Seattle to Chicago.
Really?
Yeah. That was a pretty good trip.
How long did it take you? Week?
No. Probably at the most 3-4 days. We happened to have this buddy and I. We were every time I took a train while I was in the service, I got in a Pullman, where you get a bed at night. And so I and this guy John, we were together. We had Pullman, and they brought us a paratrooper in. Met 3 of us, in our section. And that kid sat there all the trip across America going. I told my buddy, I said, I feel like smashing him right in the teeth so you don't have to suck them. God, he made that noise. It just drive you nuts,
So where was home when you got into Detroit?
Where was my mom? Oh, Royal Township, 11 Mile in John. My dad had been was in the hospital while I was there in Japan, he had bleeding ulcers, and he was near death in that. But my mother went to the Red Cross and tried to get them to find out where I was, and they said they couldn't find me. I was in a hospital in Japan. I went on R&R up near Mount Fujiyama. And for taking, I had a lot of trouble with acne. And so the doctor, the army doctor in Tokyo, had me take hot showers in the morning, hot showers at night, twice a day. And while I'm there to the recreational place that they sent us at the foothills of Mount Fujiyama, they got bathtubs that are deeper than our bath, you know. So I'm taking a bath. I looked and I said, red blotches all over. What in the hell is the matter with me now? So my buddy, a guy named Schultz, he was from near Buffalo, New York. I told him, I said, hey, come here and look at me. He looked and he said, what the hell you got? You got some kind of disease. So he went down to the main floor and got a hold of a medical lieutenant. He come up and looked at me, and he had been drinking too.
May I have your attention, please? The library will be closing in less than 30 minutes. If you have items to check out or need a library card, please visit the information desk on the first floor.
Anyway,
if you need to phone home for a ride, please do so now. The library will be closing at 6 p.m.
He says, I don't know what you got. He said, but as of now, you're quarantined. So I stayed in that room by myself for 3 days, and they took me by military ambulance down to this town. I can't remember the name of it. They put me in a room that was probably 6 foot wide, 8 foot long. Room for a hospital bed. If I had to go to the John, I had to somehow communicate to the orderlies. They'd come with all kind of mask and everything on,
Wow.
put it on me too, take me to the bathroom, bring me back. Well, I was there for, I don't know, I think about a week. I tried every pill or any kind of solution that the Army had. Nothing helped me get rid of that. So anyway, they finally discharged me, and that when I got back to our outfit in Tokyo, that was my turn to go home. You know. Never knew what caused me to break out like that.
Just went away.
Not really.
No?
Yeah. I still had some of it on me when I got home. You know, I mean, I went back to taking a shower once a day.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got I had a real bad stomach, ulcers from being in the service and that. I went to the Veterans Hospital down on the river. Was admitted to the hospital there, treating me for ulcers. I started taking showers again, morning and night. I broke out again. Then I knew what the hell it was. Dried my skin out. The Army couldn't figure that out.
Yeah, that's surprising.
Yeah.
So what did you do for employment when you got home?
Well, before I went in, I was working at Dodge Truck on the mountain near 8 Mile. I went back to work there on a Monday. I was only home for about a week or two because my dad, I start to say my dad was in the hospital, in bad shape. And I went to see him in that. Then I got discharged. I put in for a 30-day extension on my, before I got out of the service, you know, because I wanted to be with my dad. And they granted it to me, but I went back to work, and they put me, when I went into the service, I was taking trucks off the assembly line, driving them around to the backyard where people would box them up, wooden boxes, to ship overseas. When I come back, they put me on a heavy truck assembly line. You're moving like this all day long. And a couple of the guys there had been working right along, said, hey, you can't keep up. I was putting a front motor mounts underneath the truck engines. You're bent over sideways like this, 8 hours of working like that. So this guy says, you got to let some of them go by. They got to put another man in this on this line. He said, it's too hard on anybody to do that. Well, the foreman come up after I let a couple go by. Hey, you got to keep up. You can't be letting these go by. I said, hey, I'm trying my best. I said, I was trying to keep. That happened on Thursday or Monday afternoon. Tuesday morning, I go in there again, same job. And I worked 2 days that week because of Christmas and New Year's was coming up. 2 days of the next week, I had off. I go back here the third week, and I like, you know, too many trucks go by without no mounts under them. They have to pull them off the line and put them in repair, they say, where other people will take care of them. Foreman come up and he says, you're not doing your job. He says, I said, look, I told you before. I said, I'm trying my best. That's all I can do. He said, well, you're going to go see the general foreman. I said, okay. He takes me in the office. This guy is sitting in a brown suit with a bowler hat on. He looked up at me like that, and he went back. He wasn't doing anything, but he just went back, making me stand there. Finally, he looked up and he says, what's your problem, boy? I said, I have no problem. I said, that job you got me on? I said, it's too hard. You've got to put another man on there. We'll decide that, he says. But you're going to keep up. I said, well, wait a minute. I said, according to the law in Washington, you were supposed to put me back in the same department I had when I left here to go into the service. Oh, we got another crying ex-GI, huh? And I said, yeah, bam, and I hit him. Knocked him over backwards. Well, next thing the foreman hit me back here somewhere and knocked me down. Next thing I knew, there was 2 security there marching me out on the mountain road. So I quit. And next week I started looking for a job, and I got a job over there on Hoover and 8 Mile near where I was born. I was there 22 and a half years.
What was that job?
It was software parts for cars making, you know. I went in there as a stock chaser and wound up being general foreman. They moved out.
When did you meet your wife?
Oh, my first wife. Yeah. She was born in the same neighborhood.
Mm.
I was surprised when I come home. When she was around 12, 13 years old, she was one of the toughest little girls you ever seen. Language-wise and everything else. But we were married 22 and a half years when she died.
Now you married again?
Yeah, 40 years now. That's strange. That's 60-some years married and never celebrated my 50th yet. Yeah.
How many children did you have?
I had 5. And my second wife, she had 5. We had 10 kids between us.
Were they gone when you married your second wife?
What, my kids? No.
Her
I had-
kids?
Her kids? No, they were,
So both of you had kids yet?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, her oldest one was 13, 12 or 13.
My
So,
God.
but my oldest one at home then. My oldest boy was in the service and my daughter got married.
Now, the most important question of the evening. You ever heard of 5220?
Yeah.
I'll be damned.
I wouldn't sign up for it.
You wouldn't.
I would not sign up for it. My brothers go all over me. I said, I don't need no goddamn handout.
That wasn't a handout, it was an attempt to give you an adjustment period.
I had a couple of buddies, they went the limit on it.
I can't believe that.
Yeah. See, my
You're
dad,
the first one that told me that.
yeah,
I'll be
my
darned.
dad, when I left home in that, he was bitter about me leaving home. But anyway, he never took a handout from anybody either. I guess he, we're stubborn Germans.
Proud?
I don't know. I couldn't see me. I have, pardon my English, I have been pissed off at the VFW ever since I got out of service. I had polio when I was 28 years old. I was in the hospital for, I don't know, about 8 weeks. I get out of hospital and I had to stay 3 months before I can go back to work. I go back to work. They're on strike, so I have no money coming in. I got my youngest son, or oldest son, he didn't even have money to buy milk for him. And my one older brother, he helped me out a little bit. I went to Mount Clemens, to the VA, there in Mount Clemens. This guy had me set from 8 o'clock in the morning till 5:30 at night. And he says, well, I'm sorry, sir, but I can't help you. I said, why? He said, because we can't do it. In a southern accent. I said, no. If I was a son of a bitch and hillbilly or nigger, you'd give it to me right away. I said, I'll never ask the VA for another thing as long as I live. And that's how stubborn I am. I did go in the hospital twice. But, as far as any of the benefits other than the GI loan for a house, I have nothing to do with the VFW. I got paperwork up at home now on my computer desk, waiting for me to fill it out to get prescriptions, but I won't fill it out. My wife's on me all the time. Why don't you do that? That's something that you don't have the brains to figure it out. You just hold a grudge.
Anybody got a question? Ann?
No, very interesting here.
I feel I paid my dues to this country.
Leon, I appreciate your time and effort. Enjoyed hearing you and hearing your stories. Brings back a lot of memories, but
Yeah. One of the guys was in the outfit, 440th Signal Battalion, wrote a book on it. And he's got 1 page of stuff about me. I was gonna bring the book here, but I think I left it in Florida.
Is that where you live in the wintertime?
Yeah. Not by choice, but I have to eat. And if I want my wife to cook for me, I gotta go to Florida.
I understand.
Yeah.
Leon,
I don't
thanks,
like the heat.
thanks for the interview and thanks for taking the time with us today.
Thank you
Really
very much.
appreciate
All
it.
right. Nice meeting you.
My pleasure.